Hello, hello, and welcome to another Project Pixar. We are on Pixar's, I believe, 14th film today, and their very first prequel. It's Monsters University. Noah, how you doing?
Great.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Who is your favorite character? I'm going to start with this one. As always, Mike and Sully are the easy, obvious choices. Nothing wrong with picking either of them because they're both absolutely great. But once again, I'm going to pick a side character for some reason because that's just what I do with monsters films, I guess. No, I'm going to pick Dean Hardscrabble. I think she has such a cool character design. This mix of like a dragon and a millipede centipede with this crazy like I don't know. Yeah, there's this really interesting design, and I like her character a lot too. Helen Mirren does a really good job of. She's very imposing and authoritarian, but at the same time, she's kind of set up as the film's antagonist, but she really isn't. At least not to me. You know, she does seem very fair. Like she expects a lot of her students, and she wants her department to, represent very well. But she's never just like, no, of course not. I'll give nobody, But she is also very hard at the same time. Like that moment when her canister is broken, they're all expecting her to freak out, and she's just kind of more like, all right, well, let's move on after this. So love that character. It's always fun when she's on screen, and she can be very intimidating. So yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I'm going to go ahead and pick Mike for this one. I picked Sully for Monsters, Inc., but Mike is the heart and the soul of this film, I feel. I just like how they extrapolated, on his what he was before Monsters Inc. and how he had these grand ambitions of becoming a scarer. And I really I do relate to his need of like wanting to be the best. You put in everything that you can, and despite that, you still just aren't naturally talented or gifted enough to be the best. It is kind of heartbreaking, and it's something that I have experienced before in some things. So like I totally get where he's coming from. So yeah, I just to be able to come past that and realize, hey, maybe I can't do everything that I wanted to do, but maybe there's something that I can do. So
yeah, Mike is great. He would have been my choice had I not picked Hardscrabble. So overall, I like this film a lot. What is your least favorite moment of this movie?
Well, I would say the implementation of Randall never really fit for me. Like he's there, but the film kind of does this, like these unnecessary callbacks to Monsters Inc. It feels like it has to throw in everything that the first one had, and even if it doesn't really fit, it feels so lame to just be like, and this is why Randall hates Mike and Sully to this day. Like that was kind of a funny gag, as him taking off his glasses and squinting. Like that's why he squints, because they messed him up in the scoring competition.
This is one of the things that the movie does as a prequel I really don't like, and I'm right with you. It's my least favorite moment as well. It's basically anything with Randall, like as if we were, hey, did you ever wonder why he squints? Well, no, like, no, I didn't care.
Yeah,
like, who cares? And yeah,
given it's the Solo problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and it made his villainy in Monsters Inc. worse. Because, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, that's it. That's why he's like hates them so much. That's why he's against them. Ooh, he messed me up. That's the last time you'll do that to me, Sullivan.
You'll never do this. Yeah, this is the last time I lose to Sullivan.
Yeah, he was very lame. I didn't really like anything they did with Randall. So I would agree. That's also my least favorite moment.
Standout animation.
I don't know. There's kind of the two moments that stick out the most to me, and I could kind of put these as like my favorite line or joke because they somewhat fit that. But I'll just say animation wise, that I do really enjoy anytime the monsters are hiding. So, for example, when they're doing the scary house challenge and they've got to hide in there, or even at the beginning when Mike goes to visit Monsters Inc. and that one monster like he hangs himself on like the towel rack or the coat rack as and he looks just like it, and then he uncurls himself. So the way they show the monsters hiding is excellent. I always really enjoyed that. And then it's not a line, so I'll just say it now, but during the little football game, the motion of the like and then and then this slug just just bulldozes all of them. He's just
Yeah.
as like 18 guys are trying to jump. And again, the way the camera just like shifts back and forth, I'm like, I've always that makes me laugh every time to this day.
I like that moment too. I would say for me, the stand-up parts for me are the challenge scenes. They have some really cool visuals there. The tunnel scene, like I love how they're all running in the dark, and there's the pink little cushies, you know, they look like the little cush balls, you know, they're all glowing, and I just like I really enjoy any type of animation like that when it's like in the dark and you have this glow in the dark kind of aspect to it. It's really cool to look at. Also, I love the design of the librarian and how she just towers over, like when she like, she's pretty scary. I get why people would be scared of it. Those two moments would be what stood out to me.
So next we have first time memories. Any special memories when you saw this?
Not really. I saw it with my sister. I went to see it, and I thought I enjoyed it. I left, and I was happy that I saw it, but nothing like really stood out to me. And to this day, it's probably one of the ones I forget about the most, even though I like it. It's not one that I often like. I'm gonna go rewatch. I'm gonna rewatch Monsters Inc. before I rewatch Monsters U. So
sure. Yeah, we're simpatico on this. This was one of the ones that, while I very much enjoyed it, and there was a sense of relief when I saw it, that was like, oh, okay, good. This film, you know, was kind of a backup and standard, but there also wasn't anything super special about my viewing experience. I just went to a theater with the girlfriend and the best friend, and that was it. So yeah.
So Travis, do you remember our old alma mater at Graceland?
I don't actually. I couldn't tell you what it is.
I don't remember it either. Nonetheless, do you remember the alma mater in Monsters U?
I do, and that is my favorite musical moment, is when they're first getting there and Randy Newman's score is just blaring it loudly and proudly, and it's when Mike is first entering campus and he's seeing all these different things. You have this massive monster come over and she catches a frisbee, heads up, and it's like, and just bum ba bum bum, like it's so like triumphant, and yeah, like it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's either got to be that or sometime during the montage scene when it's the snare drums are just going off, you know, like the marching band. Like it's just so college oriented. Yeah, Randy Newman just knocked it out of the park with that score. What about you?
Yeah, and yeah, I like that, and I like the moment when they're entering the Hall of Scares and they're like touching the talon of the monster on the, like, that's such a, it's not the music, but the music was playing at the time, but I was like, that's such a like a college thing to do, like putting respect on the mascot or the, you know, the the alma mater is really what stood out to me. Like you said, that part also with the drums was cool. Outside of that, nothing much.
Yeah, but that carries it well, so I was happy with it. Okay, so favorite dialogue, line, joke, what do you got for me?
There's some funny moments in this movie, for sure. I do like when he's learning about all the different clubs and stuff on campus, and there's the art club, and the thing just pours the paint on his head, smacks his head into the canvas. That's really funny. I like when they're trying to spy, like they go to Monsters Inc. and they're like, who is that? What's going on? The security. And Art says, I can't go back to jail. Oh, that was really funny. Like any of the sentimental or any important kind of moments. I do like the confrontation between Mike and Sully at the end. You were right. They weren't scared of me. I did everything right. I wanted it more than anyone. And I thought if I wanted it enough, I could show everybody that Mike Wazowski is something special. And I'm just not. That whole sequence and Sully saying, you know, like, I act like I'm scary, but the truth is I'm scared all the time. Like, there's some truth to the characters there that comes out, and it's a really good part for me.
Yeah, great stuff. I'll mention two funny lines and then my serious line that I love. The two lines that always get a laugh out of me is when his mother drops him off at Monsters Inc. She says, I'll just be in the car listening to my tunes, and it like this death metal sound. She's like, And then this one, it's literally more like line and action, but it's during the training montage when Mike covers his eyes and they all go hide, and he has to point to their hiding spots, and he points to the hippie guy. He's like standing out in the open. He's just standing out in the open, like looking at a butterfly. That always catches me off guard. And then my favorite, like more sentimental or serious line is during my favorite sequence in the entire movie, which is when they're in the cabin and Sullivan has to scare the adults, the park rangers. And, you know, he's like, I can't scare these people. These are adults, Mike. And he says, when are you going to stop being a Sullivan and start being you? Love that. I just love the way he says that. So those would be my choices.
Yeah. So is there anything that you would change?
Broadly, no. I think there's a little few things here and there, kind of like the Randall stuff. But overall, I think the plot structure is really good. I like where the characters end up. I like the emotional through line. I really love that Mike gets the message. I think in this movie is great that Mike gets that hard slap in the face of like, dude, you know, you're just, you know, there's that great conversation between Sullivan and Hardscrabble where she's like, well, I know one of you's not scary. And he says, no, he's the heart of the team. She says, do you think he's scary? He says, he works harder than anybody else. Do you think he's scary? And obviously he wasn't. Like, that's, yeah. So I love the messaging. Again, like the Randall stuff for sure, but overall, I don't think there's like a big problem that's holding the film down. So it'd probably just be the Randall and then maybe a nitpick here or there.
This feels like a movie that everyone had all the best intentions for, that everyone really did a great job on, but just didn't seem necessary. It's good for what it is, but you could watch Monsters, Inc. and not have any... Monsters U will have any type of impact upon your viewing of Monsters, Inc. For that reason, I would just say, like, it's great for what it is. It really is. But is it necessary? Is it important? So I think maybe that's why I forget about it a lot, because it does feel like fluff.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we'll segue into closing thoughts, and I will say that it is fluff, but it's very good fluff.
It's good fluff.
It's incredibly charming. I love the monster designs. Like, you know, even on the like Omega Roar Omega or whatever, like you got the little crab guy, like you've got the big demon devil looking guy who's the main, like they're just so creative. Hardscrabble, as I mentioned earlier. I even really like the little teacher guy played by Alfred Molina. And of course, all the Uzma Kappa guys are really charming and amusing. So overall, it's really fun. Having watched Monsters, Inc. since then, I can 100% agree with you that like this film doesn't make it better in any way. Like Monsters, Inc. is still just great because Monsters, Inc. is great. So I do agree it was ultimately unnecessary, but I was happy to see it still be very enjoyable. And I have to give a shout out to, again, my favorite scene in the cabin. And what I like about that is I really love how it builds into the psychology of fear, and that it's not just this, you know, they scratch the wood, and as a human, what was that sound? You see the curtain move a little bit, like the way they
you see like a little figure run past,
yeah,
you
the
know,
little
like
doll, mama, and then she falls over. And as a human, you know, especially as a kid, haven't we all been there in bed at night? What was that? I saw the curtain move. Oh, I saw that thing move. Like, what was that? Like, I love that they really tap into that psychology of fear. And then when Mike rips the fishing line and they all trip and Sullivan just gets up and it, you know, sets off that crazy reaction, like coolest part of the movie. And that moment alone, that sequence is, I think, up there in like top Pixar sequences for me. So
it's pretty great.
What about you?
With the ending, I thought the ending was the strongest part of the movie, so that's good. It left a great impression. And I do really like the credits with the scarer cards. I think that's a really fun way to leave it. With the upbeat jazzy, you know, music and stuff, and it just reminded me that I had fun. It was a fun time.
Agreed. Yeah, great stuff. So moving away from our prequel, that was 2013, and then we go to 2014 where there was no Pixar film. I think this was the first year without a Pixar film, or especially once they really got going and they were doing it consistently. But we'll see you again for 2015. Make sure you know which way we're going, because we're going to be going inside and out. See you then.
Whoa.